Hi everyone, this is Kay from Australia. I'm going to do the Margarete Miller challenge, which is for 52 weeks of the year, and if you're interested, I'll list her link below in the I can't think of the name. This is my very first time at doing YouTube, so bear with me. I hope that I don't make too many mistakes. I tried to do this twice yesterday, and so I apologise for part of this will be just a talk through rather than doing it as I go. But I thought I could do the cover of my book that I'm using for the challenge. I've already covered it in some scrap paper, and I've got some of this pink to go in the background, and I cut it too short, so I've got to stick this other bit there too. The reason being is I've got this really lovely image that I got from Daphne's diary to go on there, but to break it up a little bit, I found this other thing that I had in my stash, so it's sort of going to go a bit like this. And because I've just felt that it needed something else, I'm going to put some book pages underneath there too, and I quite like the jagged edges on the outside rather than the straight edges, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh, there's two there. That's not very helpful. So put that there. Hi, hope you are all right and everybody's had a really good New Year's. It's been, I think, pretty quiet for lots of people because of what's happening with the coronavirus. But I hope that you've got to have some sort of chance to have a celebration with some family or some friends at some point in time over the Christmas break. So that's what it's sort of going to look like. I did have this originally, and I'm not really too sure whether I'm still going to put this little thing that I got from a junk journal supplier on Etsy, but I can't remember where I got it from now, so I apologise for that. Okay, I think that's the way I want to have it so we're going to stick all this down now, and hopefully I'll get everything back where it was. Okay, so I'm a retired person, and I live in Adelaide. It's been very hot the last couple of days, but thank goodness it's going to be cooler today, because my glue is obviously decided it's had too much runningness because of the hot weather, and that's the thing with the glues in the hot weather. They do tend to run a bit. I like to use 450 glue because I find sometimes that the glue sticks don't always necessarily stick, especially with the the paper, the thicker paper from scrapbooking companies. So I'm just going to mix it up. This is an old vintage book that I picked up. Story about Charles Stuart, the king, who was called Bonnie-Bince Charlie, and who tried to control of the throne for the Stuarts, which was the family name, from the Tudors, King Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I, they were the Tudors. So, and then I've also got some story, this older paper is from a book about the children of the New Forest. The New Forest is I think it's a place in England, so I've never actually been there. I wouldn't really know. That's going to go there like that. Oh, have I left enough room? I think so. Oh, wrong way around. It needs to go that way around, so the pattern matches. So my journey started off doing card making. In the last couple of years I've been doing watching more of YouTube seeing as, you know, with COVID and everything, we haven't been not going out so much, and been finding all these crafty people on YouTube, and they've been doing junk journals and glue books and a whole range of things, and people were doing the Margarete Miller challenge, and that really intrigued me. So I started doing it, and it was really late when I started doing it. So that was last year. I haven't really finished last year's yet because I started so late. I think I'm up to 30 something or other. But this year, I'm going to try very hard to keep on touch. Excuse me a minute, I think I might need some water. So I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. So, sorry. Okay, so that's going to go like that. I think the pink behind sort of lifted up a little bit. I was going to put this down, but I still don't really know whether I really want to, because I don't really want to cover this background here. It's not quite stick down, but a bit more glue. And of course it didn't stick down properly, and I don't have a tissue with me to wipe off the excess, but I do have a rubber glue, so I'm going to use that to get rid of the excess. Now, does this need to be underneath or not, or is that enough? I think that's enough, because I think the book pages add to it a little bit. Okay, so that's my cover done. So like I said, last year I used a altered book, but this year I'm just going to use this new art journal book, so to give me a bit more room, I think. And I've been watching Liz from Buttons for Brains, and the way she did the Margarete Miller challenge was to have a prompt on one side with a bit of a collage, and the collage was on this side for the challenge. And so then I was watching her for a while. I thought, well, that's a really good idea, I quite like that. So I thought I would try and do that this year. And funnily enough, Julie from Western Australia also had the same idea, and I'll link her below, as well as for Liz from Buttons for Brains. So with for the first challenge, like I said, I apologise because I did this twice yesterday, and I thought I was recording and I didn't, but I couldn't pull it up a second time, so I'm going to have to walk through this with you. I apologise again. So the prompt was something magical, time, translucent paper such as tracing paper, vellum or tissue paper, furniture, something triangular, and the bonus is the place. With Margarete Miller, you can use the bonus. If you don't want to use any of these other things here, you swap it out for the bonus. But I like to try to use all of them, including the bonus, with my challenges. So we'll just see how we go. So with our something magical, I had this fairy from Graphic 45 Fairy Wing. So I thought she would work really well with my background, because I wanted to use this really beautiful background. I'll show it to you in a minute, that I had found in a magazine. So with the fairy wings, the magical fairy came with some bubbles, which I think sort of reflect that magic kind of thing as well. So for time, I had a little clock, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. For the translucent paper, I decided to use a piece of vellum with some script writing on it. That comes from a collection from Uniquely Creative, which is a scrapbooking company here in Adelaide. So I put that in there too. Furniture. Given the picture that I've got, I thought that this little garden seat would work really well, and that also comes from the same collection as this, from Uniquely Creative. Something triangular. You probably can't really see it very well now because I've just sort of covered it over, but so I'm going to highlight it in a minute so you can bring it out a bit more. So the triangular piece is sort of there behind the other piece of paper. The bonus is this image here. It's a place. Now, if you're an Australian, you know that this is an Australian place because of the black cockatoos. I think they're Major Mitchell's is their genus name. And I think it sort of represents a rainforest or a bush setting, possibly more of a rainforest, because in Australia we've got tropical rainforests and temperate rainforests. So I think that's what that is there. And I just love that picture from the magazine, so I just really wanted to use that. And I felt, so then I had to go find the fairy to match it. And I felt that she really needed to be up here because she's looking down on the cockatoos. My husband and I really do like to go for walks in the rainforests areas, and so when we go travelling, well, not that we've done a lot lately, just in our own state, when we don't have rainforests in South Australia, and we just are aware of the time, because you just, you know, so you're not out and about too long, and mindful of not being wearing yourself out. So there's a little bit of a clock there, but at the same time, I think being in the rainforest itself is very magical. Excuse me a minute. So anyway, so that's why I wanted to really use that picture. I thought it was really beautiful. But like I said before, I think this sort of triangular bit is a bit hidden. So I'm going to, excuse me while I find my black pen. I should have got this out earlier. I didn't, and I forgot. So I'm going to use a black pen, and I'm going to highlight this little triangular area here with the black pen, just to sort of bring it out a bit more. Of course, because it's on vellum, it doesn't sort of write very well, does it, really? But I just thought that could highlight the triangular a bit more. You can see there's a triangle. Margarete Miller, with her challenges, says something about putting down a background first, but I don't know. For me personally, I quite like the clean look around the actual collage itself. I may change my mind as it goes along, depending on what the collage is, and we'll just have to see how it works out. And the reason why I got this rubbish around on the background is because where I pulled it up twice, where I pulled it up the first time, and not twice, where I pulled it out the first time. So, oh dear, it was very annoying. So hopefully this time it works. So as I was saying, Liz McGuire from Buttons for Brains did a little collage from the pieces that sort of reflected the main collage, well, I don't think it actually did. I think she just had a little collage on the side here. But I decided to use a little collage on this side to reflect the collage on this side. So there I've got some flowers from this piece of paper here. And so the pieces are cut out are behind this main piece here. And some bubbles that were here are also here. And another clock, a little piece of vellum from there. And that's also part of the paper that was cut there. So just a little bit of reflection to show what that is. And I've just added a little bit of border from the piece of scrapbook paper that I cut the fairy from to sort of highlight the purpleness. And I've got another piece here. I'm not really sure whether I really want to have another bit here. It may need to cover up this horrible piece that I've ripped up from yesterday. And I don't know whether I want it there or not. I think it sort of adds a little bit, but I don't know whether it's just sort of too much, because it's a long piece, and I don't know whether I want the long piece or not, because whether it just sort of doesn't really go, or whether I sort of add the corner so it goes round the corner kind of thing. And that sort of goes. Maybe I should do that. Just cut a little bit off here. I'll do that. And see if that goes a bit more. So before Christmas we were really lucky, because our cousin came from Sydney, which we haven't seen for a good while, and we had a big family gathering at my oldest daughter's place. I say big, there's only 17 of us, because my mum and dad came here with my sister and I, in 1964 from Britain. So our cousin in Sydney is the only other family we have here in Australia. So it was really nice to see her. And then we opened the borders not long after. South Australia opened their borders to the rest of to New South Wales and Victoria, which already had lots of cases of COVID, and we hadn't had hardly any cases here. So they changed the number of people you could have in your home to a lot less than 17. So anyway, I don't know whether I should need a number here. I've got this old Tupperware stencil that I got when my daughters were young, and I don't know whether I want a number 1 on there or not, just to highlight the fact that it's number 1, whether I want it actually on the piece of paper or on the side. I'm not 100% sure. What I could do is do it in pencil, and if I don't like it, I can just rub it out. No, I don't think it needs to be on there, rather than just there in the corner. I think I will use my texter, my marker, just to make sure it's number 1. Yeah, I think that works. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that you join me again for the next video. Bye.